It is the second live stream that I have done today. I noticed that. But this is an important one because we're going to be chatting about and discussing the upcoming full moon on March 18th, 2022. Now, I believe that March 18th would be a wonderful day for a spring parade, would be a welcoming of spring parade. So it is a culmination of wintertime, of this, all the months of cold and it being very snowy, and you're being stuck inside your house with, various things to entertain yourself, such as books and music and movies and different types of things like that. And then the weather just improving, going to this parade and then getting candy thrown at you with all the trinkets and all of the different colors and different textures and different designs of what all of these people are just strolling through the promenade on their floaties, and then you're standing along the sidelines watching it all occur and perhaps joining in additionally. So um, I think of, there was this episode of Dance Moms where this um, dancer uh, was doing a dance all about, like, I think it was, trying to think, I believe it was like a soldier. Yeah, a soldier. And that was in season 7 that it occurred. So the end of the Old Testament, if you will. But so, anyway, Friday, March 18th is when this is going to happen. It's going to happen this day. You're going to be walking through your house and opening up the door, which will open up to a room of new possibilities, a room where anything can be possible. You have your desk, which you can work on the vision of writing up and sketching out and drawing and demeaning whatever is trying to kill the dream that you are trying to manifest. All of the little files, and then the proper cushions and the proper um, sofas and the proper tables with the snacks and food and everything that you would need or want to decorate your life with, that would make it all the better and make it improve and make it out to be something incredible that you can really, really take away from. As now, I feel like I am at this foundation where I can now achieve and build up from here, where I can just climb that ladder step by step by step by step and achieving my dreams step by step by step. And the thing about it is, there may be some flaws along your pathway. There may be some setbacks or rough patches or things that don't go down the modern way of knowing of success as we, modern individuals would, really criticize it to want to be. So, um, I think of just, I don't know. Why is The Greatest Showman coming to mind? I don't know why The Greatest Showman is coming to mind. I don't know why that circus with all the people, people, the uh, um, I don't know, but a musical, and how this person started from, I don't know, I may be making this up, who knows, but I think that he started from rags to riches, and America went backwards in, 1920s, 1930s, when new technological, innovations, new, processes and prophecies for better things, more advanced things coming out, and then boom, the stock market crashed. But so he had this dream of starting this circus where all of these people in their own artistic way, yeah, and I said take note of these little symbols, take note of the random things that come to mind, where all these people would present their art in front of the audience, would show off their real and uninhibited selves, and do all these tricks, glide from ropes, hang on hangers and drop down and land gracefully and then come back up. And then the audience is I mean, these types of magical things that people are just drawn to. It's the dream, and then you put it into reality. The dream and the reality. Pisces, Virgo, axis. And indeed, that's what the greatest showman did. And I believe he realized in one part of the film how it's not about making money. It's not about making dollars and coins and bucks and all those types of things. Just from the purity and the simplicity of your heart, can you appreciate the art and appreciate the wonder and the splendor and the joy that you can get when you see all those people showing their authentic selves to the audience, entertaining them, inspiring and moving them in a very, very unique and special way. So I just thought that I would mention that. But getting to the information bit, getting to the data, getting to the to the dirt, to the nitty gritty, because after all, it does take the dirt to, and it does take knowing the data in the dirt for the plants to come up. It takes soil and it takes some water and some sunlight, and it all just melds together in a beautiful pot of joy and love and peace, to where, with these things, this plant can rise up out of the ground and can be harvested. And if you were living on a farm with them pickling it, you would contain it in jars which then you would keep over winter. But we're not talking about that because winter is already done. Well, it's not already done. We still have some time left before spring begins and before the new year begins. The new year will begin on March 20th, March 21st, 20th, 21st. The sun will move 0 degrees into Aries. And with all this Jupiterian, juicy, very lucky energy, we can really, really manifest what we want to manifest in our life. Like, it doesn't have to be anything super significant. What lights you up? What turns you on? For instance, I am turned on by making these videos. I am turned on to creative writing where I can really, really be creative and express myself in very, very creative and imaginative ways. Um, I am turned on by listening to music and, watching this and, going outside, getting in nature, understanding stories and writing stories. I mean, all these types of things. What turns you on and what will you drop down into earth and because the pipe dream, like, I remember seeing this video and I saw a cloud, like I believe it was like a cumulus cloud with the sky, and it was a pipe dream. Well, pipe dreams can be dreams that don't actually come to form, and nothing gets achieved out of those dreams. So, this is a balance of these two different energies, of these two mutable energies is going on. So, the full moon, things are changing in Alaska. um, I think that in some aspects, things would be changing as the seasons would change. Of course, they're way up north and they're, um, very, very behind where we are in, I think, summer's like spring. But with the with the snow, with the glaciers, and with the trees of maybe pine and oak that are there, with the leaves, with their sort of, um, some can be a little prickly, some can be a little more silkier like others, who knows? But I see wolves. Think about a wolf, which is so very primal and so very instinctual, aligned with that caveman T-bone that this wolf eats and gets its strength. That is lighting on the grill of spirit so that it can howl at the moon and so that the emotions can really, really be expressed. And indeed, it is very, very emotional. Um, Full moons really, really highlight the emotions. It really, really raises up the volume, turns up the volume. Like if your emotions were a radio of this passionate music, it is very, very loud, bombarding, sort of powerful music that really, really wants to grab the attention out of the room, grab the attention out of the situation where people are drawn to it. Like, for instance, I remember, going to a wedding several years ago, like 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and the music was so loud. It was so loud that it was really could drive a person crazy how loud it is. And it's like, how do you expect your wedding guests to be able to enjoy the wedding and have conversations if the music is so incredibly loud? And so it's that sort of thing with your emotions represented by um, the volume of the music and the power and the passion of the music. Now that gets more Scorpio Aries. And by the way, Scorpio is both ruled by Mars and it is also ruled by its modern planet Pluto, which is what we're going to be talking about later. So, exciting times. It's a wonderful time for change. Virgo, Pisces and Virgo are both mutable signs. They both occur when the seasons are in transition, when there is a shift in energies seasonally. And indeed, Virgo, if you were to go to this valley, for instance, maybe it's in, Northern California, and you would walk into this house, and as soon as you walk in, you are amazed. You are amazed at how well this house is being kept. You are amazed at how shiny everything is, how sparkling, how exotic that the house looks like. And this Virgo person, or somebody who has that sixth house of Virgo in his or her chart, would be very humble and with pride used in the best way when it comes to this house. And indeed, there is a change. where this person was living in this sort of city streets when, looking at, 5 houses, because apparently the address of your house impacts the house. For example, this is, a 2 address, for instance. That's just apparently, don't take my word for that. But living this sort of life in the city with being bombarded with the music and the traffic and having to do this and having to do that, and then, people, living, for example, you know, I don't think that a whole lot of people like roommates. Is it just a pickiness about how clean that the roommate keeps the apartment or keeps the dorm? And where you need to find purity and find cleansing and cleaning, and you need to find a pure life. And so that's what this person did when, let's say, she moved to this place. And and I mean, I looked up the if houses were zodiac signs, and indeed it would be something modern and clean. um and a vacation for Virgo would be something with, very intricate details. And apparently, the Enlightenment would be the time period for Virgo in history. But so changing things, altering things in your life that need cleaning up. And indeed, this cleaning and healing is very, very important during this time. Stepping into your power. Virgo is you in your power. It can be that it's feet on the ground. I could be sitting at my desk with my feet on the ground, working and being in alignment with what it is that I value. Um, and so potential giving to myself and others, service. Virgo looks at service. Virgo looks at if somebody were to complete a pamphlet, for example, that would let people know that this person or this dog is missing, or um, give back to their community. Maybe setting up a lot of those garage sales, which people sell things that they no longer need. And then you take those and then you give back. Like I see those little as I go by walking, sometimes I see take a book, leave a book, little stands, like a little free library where you would um, take a book, leave. And now I'm thinking of that scene from Raven's Home, but it's this sort of uh, trade, and it's you giving with your potential. So those are just some ideas that I would have. So ending so many things in your life, culminations. Culmination. Something's dying and something new is being reborn. It's very, very exciting. The energy is very, very high. I remember having a very, very, like, the last time there was a full moon, like, I think maybe you notice that your sleep sort of, like, it gets harder and harder to sleep because the energy increases, because the moon is waxes, like Medusoid mycelium mushroom, fungus virus from a series of unfortunate events. Um, and, the energy increases. Again, the volume is just turned up on that dial, turned up on music. So maybe having foods that soothe you and cool foods instead of hot, spicy foods, with all this energy, that could really, really amp up the volume. And it's not going to help you. So things to keep in mind, maybe take a break from, being so attached to the phone and computer during this time. Maybe it is making the decision to alter your diet and eat healthier. Maybe it is the decision that, hey, I'm going to cut the level of caffeine that I am just, that, my intake of caffeine, or just do something so that you can wind down and get a very, very wonderful and very delicious and very soothing night's sleep. So, it is noted that during the full moon, there can be more irrationality with the emotions. For example, you know, now that we're talking about astrology, I remember seeing an Amuleto film, and in this Amuleto film, it was called "A Couple That Have a First Date Clash Over Astrology." So, in the film, the female, who was a Virgo, and the male, who was a Cancer, um, despised, did not believe in, debunked, um, really, really was very, very against, and wanted to just throw down that whole towel onto the puddle that inside was the gold and inside would have been astrology, but he was not going to have it. So the female, both of them had a misunderstanding and a very shallow understanding of what astrology was. Um, Both of them equally. Um, Astrology, said the female, is just a way to talk with people in the well, yeah. What is your sun sign? What is your zodiac sign? Like I was watching a thing about like British people um because the documentary was about debunking astrology. And apparently, apparently the Capricorn wouldn't resonate with the Capricorn horoscope written in the newspaper, but maybe, oh, look at the Libra horoscope. Oh, I think I resonate with that. So, I where you can really, really lay back down on the ground, and stare to the heavens and see. And so, where it's so much more, it's not just the sun sign, it's your chart. And so both of them were fighting and arguing about it, and again, they sort of come to an agreement, and, one draws the olive branch at the end, and everything works out fine. Um, so this, emotionality, for example, if you were to go out to the city and you were to see this pub, like I was walking around Louisiana one time, during the same time which I was at this wedding, and I heard these people coming out, going like, "Hello, New York City." Like, no, we're not in New York City. So it's a sort of wanting to paint the town red, wanting to go out and really, um, live life as if it were a ball of cherries and then sell it door to door and, you know, um, really, enjoy the night out and just have a lot of fun and express. And because the emotions are going to be coming on very, very strong and powerfully, especially because we're in Pisces season. Now, degrees. Now, I don't always talk about degrees, but I will talk about this 27 degree of Pisces, or excuse me, 27 degrees of Virgo. That's when this full moon is occurring. So it's going to be near the end of moon being in Virgo because the moon moves incredibly quickly, and apparently the moon Uh, Also looks at the waves and looks at the, rolling waves with the crests and troughs, I believe, and it impacts. Like maybe when the moon is in Taurus, um, it would go very, very slowly and steadily. And, I will be saying a lot of factual things, but I might be being very creative and imagining and maybe making some things up as I go along, um, possibly. But it is just the seeing the big picture, not getting so caught up in the details, because maybe that is a need if are going to be so limited. So, 27 degrees, Pluto, 27 degrees of Capricorn. The US is going through what is known as, and I was watching Brock Goldsmith, the astrologer, uh, who was talking about this, going, okay, this is the dark night of the soul. Um, and remember, Pluto is really deep transformation. It is, you know, when I think of Pluto and Scorpio, there is a song by the Scorpions, Send Me an Angel. And that song, I just listened to it in the middle of winter 2020. I can remember this well. And I was thinking, that is so Scorpio, where things I think are opposite. So the darkness is the light, and vice versa. Uh, where the sun is in Scorpio and things transition, the nights get longer, uh, the days get shorter, or there is more nighttime when, after like daylight savings time happens. Um, so, it is very, very powerful. The images from this were very and Saturn in Scorpio, my purpose is really healing. It's healing, really getting in touch and, um, embracing the shadow and turning that into a perk. Living in that shadow and uplifting the shadow. But indeed, so Pluto tends to look at the shadow. It tends to look at if you were to go into the depths of a volcano, for example, Mount Vesuvius, uh, because of what occurred. You see this mountain that looks very dormant, this, mountain of fire, and below there is something simmering and cooking. And so this is very, very Scorpio, the lava and the things. And then it just erupts. Like I believe that there was some story uh, in like Hawaii, I think, where they were going on tour to look at this volcano and it erupted. So yeah, um, volcanoes really they are very, very frightening because it is unplanned. You can't expect it if when it is going to erupt and when that pot is going to boil over and explode, and when you're going to find yourself in, well, hell, with what the Pompeii people experience in that song. Pompeii really has to do with the Mount Vesuvius. I'm pretty open-minded about music, um, so going back to this 27th degree, Pluto is in Capricorn. This was when the Reformation, the Protestant Reformation, Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., but Martin Luther. Like I was watching a very, very well done PBS documentary about um, uh, Martin Luther, where he changed the way that people looked at God. Instead of being this dictator who enforced these things upon you and determined you to be able to please him and be able to have to work to gain his favor and his respect, how if you disobey him, he could come down like lightning and hit you, punish you, da da da, da, all those types of things where you could be sitting in a church and you could be thinking to yourself, no, God created me. Why would God be mad at me? God is spirit. God is spirit. God is energy all around. And so it's a sort of thing which was a breakdown in government, a breakdown in top down authority. People in power are really, really going to be investigated, and people are going to put their little magnifying glasses on, spectacle glasses on, to be able to zoom in and see the details of which is wrong with this particular person in power. Pluto destructs to form anew. It's all about all those taboo things really, really going there and changing and transforming it. So, Virgo, the areas related to Virgo would be health. It would look at routines. What is your daily routine? Like waking up in the morning, for instance, um, you know, getting up, brushing your teeth, having breakfast, going to work, all that type of stuff. Daily functions, healing, and this can be herbal healing. This can be health healing, where if I was saying just a small scene from Karate Kid where um, Mr. Miyagi was helping the kid heal a wound, and so the I think ointment or that he was using didn't smell very good, but it was very, very effective. It's kind of like Elmer's glue. It's not very it's gross and it can get all over, but it does the job really, really well because it sticks really, really well. Virgo looks at details. Details, details. That's a card from Enchanted Oracle. Order out of chaos. Structure. Cleaning up, organizing things. This would be a wonderful time to look around your house and feng shui your house. Pisces, cleaning, healing, um, you know, clearing out all the clutter. Like that's what the symbol of the frog tends to represent is clearing out the clutter, decluttering. Like, think green, think clean. Like when, the trash people come by in there, think green, um, think um, be green, think cleaner, something like that. Um, And so green is the color that is very associated with Virgo because the earth is very, very green, clean, and green rhyme, by the way. Just like listen and silent are spelled by the same letters. Um, so order out of chaos, feng shuiing your home, rearranging things, clearing out the negative energy, dusting, remodeling. It could be this as well. Really, really looking at the trinkets and the little ornaments and the daunting or Dante sort of structures and myriad areas of the home and clearing them. So, indeed. Now, Pisces, we look at spiritual spontaneity. So very, very flowing. It's all about the flow. It's all about being in flow, being present. Like, oh, I feel the mood to go this way. Oh, but I want to go this way instead. Now I'm feeling this way. Sixth sense, your intuition, your first sense. I remember watching so many references, right? So Nisha Cat, she was talking about this and how if you lose, I don't know, hearing, like if you lose your sense of smell, that's fine. If you lose another sense, that's fine. But you need to have your intuition. You need to have your inner guidance, your inner authority to the way, light the way in the pyramid or in the cave for you to walk down, like the Never Beast at the end of Tinkerbell, the Legend of Never Beast, where there was candles lit and he walked down this path into where he had the water and food that he needed to fall asleep for 1,000 years. Um, that sort of a reference maybe can apply. So, and also Mary Poppins from Mary Poppins Returns or Emily Blunt, before they were about to go into this very Piscean movie, because very fantasy and imagination, where they would go into this bowl to try to fix it, where it span around and then things became animated, and they went into the bowl. Um, a kid with one of the kids was like, but that's impossible. Mary Poppins said, everything is possible, even the impossible. So I just think of that quote, or the short answer is everything is possible. Anything and everything. That sort of thing. And so there's so much more of this possibility this year. So many choices, so many options. Be creative, dream, be creative. Very, very Pisces. Now, Virgo is the steps that you will achieve. If you are climbing up the stairway to heaven, achieving A, B, C, and then going from A through Z, that sort of thing. Or logic, A plus B must equal C sort of thing. But so Virgo is the steps. You're clear, and having a list is a very, very important um, part of earth signs and part of the, living in the details, sitting at that round table or sitting at your desk and then creating that grocery list or creating that plan that you would go by and you would say that everything's ready for the vacation, everything's ready for, let's say you're going on riparian entertainment, um, a picnic in the summertime. And you would canoe and you know, see, do we have the tables? Do we have the chairs? Do we have the prawns? Going through checking these things off to make sure that we have everything that we need, everything that we want, everything that we can get. Pisces, the broad vision, the flow, surrendering, and letting, or not, don't take my word for it, but letting the universe, in a way, or the universe, um, go through you, or, you know, thy will be done through me. Um, an emotional healing as well with this as well. So really releasing. And that's what the Pisces North Node is about, is really just, I feel very envious for people who have the Pisces North Node because, oh my goodness, all that they need to do to make them feel is to release, is to let go of the need to judge and criticize the situation. Letting go of that compulsive need to fix the details because of a past life you were trying to get it exactly right. Um, really doing things like meditation, things that you can really release with Virgo details help as well. So, I see this being in a front yard, which is standing around and sort of dancing in the air, um, inspiring you to really, really look at the details and clean up your life. That's just a thought. Work and service are going to be very, very highlighted. Practicality versus freedom of expression and impracticality. Remember that intuition isn't very logical, and unconditional love, compassion, empathy as well, and how we can make this physical. How, if somebody is struggling or suffering or having a bad day, can we maybe get a band aid for them or prepare a nice, you know, how chicken noodle soup can, help colds. Um, those are just examples to set up this sort of place again with the Never Beast, and with they all prepared for him over his going into hibernation for 1,000 years. Um, so unconditional love, very over. So emotions are going to be high again. Sensitivity to things because Pisces is very, very sensitive, can be psychic and certainly empathic to different energies, frequencies, colors, lighting, so many different things like that. Expressing how you feel. If you sit down at your desk and if you journal, if you have your feelings and you declutter those feelings, if you release those feelings and journal those feelings, write those feelings down. Virgo, Earth, you have your pencil, write it down. So, physically. Um, and that's one of those great spiritual practices. So, certainly what Anne Frank did with what she had to go through and endure. So, this is aligned with Pluto. So, this is again cleaning up our lives, transforming our lives in some ways through this Virgo Pisces axis. Not only that, but Venus and Mars are coming together just today, I think. They are transitioning into Aquarius. This is going to create this very collaborative energy, very hands on, wanting to interact, wanting to create these new different types of things, wanting to go out and perform in front of an audience and introduce your new style of music. The type of thing where, it's okay if you wear a shirt that has this foreign language on it, or wearing a shirt to spread this sort of positivity, positive messages. Like, you see a lot of shirts that have positive message, and Pisces Virgo can combine with this as well. So Aquarius, community. Aquarius is very related to community energy, collaboration with others, getting on the phone, getting on with Zoom, sharing new ideas, talking about the hot button issues or basic issues like the story of the dolphin that really inspired this explorer, for example. Um, you know, these types of things, innovating, coming up with new ways of doing things, be it in relationship or work, new plans, like creating a brand new, bigger workroom, creating a new dance studio space. Um, indeed. Um, I mean, in the town, I think that they're going to have a meeting. Who knows? To come up with a new school that they're going to build. Who knows? And indeed, that does tie into Pisces Virgo, the dream and the actions going along with it. So, doing what you love, freedom. There's so much freedom where you can release and reduce the amount of um, glutton and fat that has to do with discouragement and limitation, where you can become more healthy, more free to, you know, live that sort of better life. So, going off the beaten path, being that arrow that just steers right off, going to somewhere else. Sociality, human relations as well, logic. Aquarius is very about information and high knowledge, high wisdom, or you could go along to these different areas and villages and go to this sort of fenced in place and really, really learn the true perspectives of these people and why they are in this situation. It's this sort of open minded and open hearted sort of place. So, um, this is square to Uranus, which is in Taurus right now. Um, being present, being grounded in the material in the here and now, um, where anything could be possible. Virgo is also the sign that is a little bit high strung, which, keeps the, M&Ms and purse something to keep you grounded or, high on caffeine to keep you going. It's sort of, you know, energy, very, very high strung. I must get this right. We are in Pisces season, and regardless of the time of year, regardless, whether it be fixed energy, cardinal energy, or mutable energy, changeable and adaptable energy, but high strung energy, you can really, really use this to your advantage. So that is that. Um, so, indeed, in this little article here, which I'm going to finish off by reading, which does talk about the full moon. So it's time. Okay. So it says information. So the full warm moon, like some things say, the blood moon, for instance. But so it says the Native Americans refer to March full moon as the full warm moon. March, by the way, now is a 9 month numerology, by the way. So during this time of year, winter starts to fade and the first signs of spring appear. The ground softens and earthworms, along with their castings, appear. The lunar light will shine on you and your potential at this time. And I reminded of listening to the astrologer Pam Gregory talking about this white photonic light upgrading us on the earth right now, interestingly enough. So, okay. So, wiggly worms may strike you as either creepy or cute, but nonetheless, they're important in the grand scheme of life. Worms are wonderful composters and help to aerate the soil so that plants can grow healthy and strong. What do you want in your field of dreams? And indeed, things are working in your favor. You co-creating what it is you want to create. So let the humble earthworm be your image during the period. By the way, Chinese New Year, water tiger. Yes, I thought I might mention that as well. So you may feel small and insignificant, but in reality, your role in the world is very, very important. So going on to the Virgin of Spring. Although spring officially begins on the 20th of March, this full moon senses a welcoming beacon of light to herald in the season, what I talked about at the beginning. Consider this sign of the Virgin as the spring homecoming queen. She symbolizes the purity and newness of this time of year. Like, for example, uh, for like a high school homecoming queen. So Virgo is often associated with the fall harvest time, but for now, she reminds us that the bounty we receive has to start somewhere. You know, People sitting around the table with the coming of spring, and before they cheer, the person who prepares the meal is saying, let's see how we did. Let's come back in fall and see how we did. And of course, then They enjoy the bountiful harvest of what they're eating, what they're enjoying when spring does come. So now is the time for your seeds to start sprouting. Take advantage of this. Um, so the lunar light will shine on you and your potential at this time. Even if you didn't plant any seeds during the new moon, you'll still feel shiny new energy. After all, Virgo is the Virgin, and this means fresh new starts to things, fresh new beginnings, which is also what the five is about, which is very change and transformation. In 2021, that was a 5 year, and indeed, several changes did happen in my life, and I'm sure for so many people around the world last year as well. And indeed, with COVID and everything. Um, so, starting again, very, very new Aries season. It's all about initiating, starting fresh and new. Um, Again, health, natural living, balance, sorting out life, beauty as well. Details will be apparent now. Virgo wants to get you organized for the busy spring and summer ahead. If you are slacking or simply cruising on autopilot, she will point out those areas you need to focus in order to excel. Now, I didn't want to go through the zodiac signs because it goes on. But, I picture this sort of virgin woman who is the leader, ruler of the crops, or not ruler of the crops, looking, analyzing to see what crops are successful and what are not, and looking for any imperfection. And the mission of the Virgin is to really heal the earth. Where are we abusing the earth? What needs healing? And I talked about this with Jupiter in Virgo, I believe, and with Uranus and Taurus, where we can really connect to the land and we can really, really, really look at where it is that we need to shift, how we are simplifying our lives. And in a way, we can simplify, make better, dream big during this full moon in Virgo. Thank you so much for watching.